Now let's talk about specific sectors then. Let's talk about medical equipment, for example, medical technology, insurances. This is something that's completely closed, but the superior technology still is offered by the West, and many Chinese hospitals want to buy Western technology, but they can't.
It's in the process of being transformed now. I've made investments in this as a Western fund. I had a dollar fund. I made investments in the healthcare sector since 2003. And
Charles, the market economy status is not only a topic between between China and the EU. It's also one between the United States and China, Canada and China, Australia and China. All have reacted differently. Australia has granted, but is still using WTO regulations to sort of have anti-dumping in place. Canada has used other measures, etc. With the EU, for me, it seems to be down to let's get concessions from China to grant a certain status. And that could be e-mobility, for example, a big topic for German car makers in China. Are we down to negotiating areas where we could find a compromise, or is that still far away?
I'm afraid that in very practical terms, it is down to negotiations in specific areas. It's unfortunate because you have strong vested interests as well. People talking about, well, if we sold our robotics company, EU will lose 3 million jobs. You know, you have this type of discussion that's coming out of the union, coming out of the other vested interest groups. Like, for example, in the financial sector, EU is certainly not a unified whole. Some of the investments that I've tried to make with the Chinese company in the EU meant going to individual countries and negotiate for 2 years and 3 years to get approvals. So we also have a number of problems on that front, and it is sector specific. Financial sector in the EU is also well protected.
We are actually focusing on the issue of a self-fulfilling prophecy, such as the allegation that an organization in the OECD countries said granting China the market economic status would mean that up to 3.5 million jobs would be lost. Therefore, we see the growing signs of trade protectionism on the EU side. Therefore, as a result of your trade protectionism, China's export of steel has been ruthlessly rejected by the Europeans. How can you expect China to grant bigger market shares about the chemicals?
We have entered the blame game now. We don't make progress by that. I think really we need new solutions and progress on the negotiation front, and this comprehensive agreement on investment has, I think, brings a lot of optimism to the table.
I don't think this is a blame game. I think we are here to put the issues on the table in the hope of seeking a solution. Right?
But I think we
this
still
is the job
have,
of the media.
for the anti-dumping issues, we still have the WTO. And as far as I know, I mean, China's track record to actually implement what the WTO is, you know, judging or deciding is pretty good. So we do have a mechanism in place that actually works. We don't need to go into this blame game. And I think it never, I mean, the whole historical thing has never helped anybody. I mean, it's important to know history and to know where you come from. But if you just smash history into each other's face, it's not very helpful, right? So I actually think now is a good opportunity for this investment agreement to go forward, because we see a bigger preparedness because of the United States sort of reluctance to go forward with any multilateral FTAs or even withdrawing from some that have been in place for a while.
TP,
so
TTIP.
there is a chance, and I come back to that. I mean, actually we have the opposite domino effect of what was feared in Europe. We now have a sort of rally around the flag effect in Europe due to Brexit.
It's more unified than before.
Yes, it's more unified.
Well,